I pledge to you, however, that I will take my responsibilities as an alderman, as I did those of an officer, with the requisite respect, empathy, dedication, and integrity. There is no greater work than public service, and you deserve public servants you can trust. I hope to earn your support, and I look forward to serving you. Thank you.
Mr. O'Connor.
Thank you. Thank you to the sponsors, and thank you especially to those of you who are participating in this electoral process. For the past nearly 20 years, I've had a unique front row seat to watch local government. I've worked as a journalist in town, worked in radio and in television, and I don't know that I knew it at the time, but when I came to WFMD back in 1989, I had begun the training for this job that I'm seeking now. And it's really important. I came through those planning commission meetings and Board of Zoning Appeals meetings and covering the courthouse and the police and all the things going on in this county for nearly 20 years. And I came to realize over that time how important these local issues really are in terms of the quality of life that the residents of the city expect. We know this evening that we're going to have the opportunity to talk about a lot of different things. Our budget, economic development, what we need to do with law enforcement and code enforcement. Something I've talked a lot about, citizen engagement. How do we really get people involved in the process? It's where I've spent most of my time over the last 20 years, trying to be the citizen's voice in City Hall, at Winchester Hall, watching these meetings, trying to be the representative for the people in those meetings, ask the questions that they would ask, challenge the assumptions that our public officials would use to make the decisions that they made. In my professional life, more recently for the last 3 years, I've been a church business manager, and we talk a lot in that line of work about stewardship. And I think that's a really important word for the job that I want to seek now as a Board of Alderman. It's not my seat, and it's not my city. It's our board, and it's our city. And I look forward to the opportunity to serve you over the next 4 years as your representative in City Hall, to extend the work that I've done for the past 20, trying to be a voice for the people in government here locally in Frederick County. So I ask for your vote, I appreciate your support, and I look forward to more discussion of the issues here this evening.
Ms. Young.
Good evening, and thank you all for your respective roles in tonight's program. During the course of the evening, we'll be talking about our positions and our thoughts on many of the issues. But now is the portion of the program where we have the opportunity to tell you what skills and experiences we have to bring to the table that will enable us to hit the ground running on day one. So let me tell you what I've been doing for the past 33 years. I've developed and managed large budgets in excess of $100 million. I've managed both profit centers as well as staff functions. I've worked with cross-functional teams to accomplish organizational goals, even when those individuals did not directly report to me. I've led strategic planning initiatives that look 10 and even 20 years out. I've directed organizational training efforts that ensured that employees had the necessary skills to accomplish their jobs. I've implemented programs in both leadership and mentoring training. I've managed human resource functions and ensured that all employee practices were in legal compliance and salaries and benefits were benchmarked to the marketplace. I've reached out extensively to determine customer needs and satisfaction. I've realigned organizations to maximize effectiveness, developed hundreds of proposals to request funding in support of new processes and initiatives, and evaluated hundreds of proposals to measure their strategic and financial impact on organizations. I've extensively communicated status and updated my knowledge on best practices. But most importantly of all, and most satisfyingly of all, I've dedicated myself to over 15 community service organizations to help ensure and promote the quality of life in Frederick. Thank you.
Mrs. Hathaway.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. My name is Amanda Hathaway, and I want to be your alderman. By all accounts, Frederick is a great city that has a lot to offer residents and visitors alike. However, like most cities, Frederick will face challenges and as our population increases and we transition from our currently troubled economy. We must find ways to recruit new companies and create additional jobs for our residents. We must also find ways to bring additional revenue into our local economy. One thing that sets me apart from my colleagues is that I've already put together action plans for making Frederick a true destination, increasing our economic development potential, and revitalizing the Golden Mile. I bring more than 10 years of human resources leadership experience to the table, and I'm ready to take on our city's challenges and lead us into the future. Many of the issues that municipal governments face are people issues, and I'm completely equipped to effectively deal with these city concerns. If we had a board that had more experience with human resources, I believe we could have made better decisions on the buyout as well as on employee benefits, which now account for about 70% of the total payroll budget. If elected, my priorities will be economic development and tourism, fiscal responsibility and eliminating wasteful spending from the budget, and working with law enforcement and code enforcement to protect our neighborhoods. I urge you to visit my website at voteforamanda.com to learn more about my platform and my priorities for the city. I hope that I can earn your vote on November 3rd. Thank you.
Mr. Imhoff.
Thank you. Good evening. I am Alan Imhoff, and I first want to thank you all for coming out and participating in the election process. I wish more of your peers would do the same. I also want to thank the sponsors for the evening for holding it and giving us the venue in which to express our concerns. I have the ability of over 40 years of experience in business and in volunteerism in a host of organizations. Through that business experience, I weathered the downturn in the 1970s when I was working with Western Electric. I weathered the downturns in the economy in the 1980s and the 1990s when I was working at AT&T. I believe that long experience will do well for what I believe will probably be the worst year for economic turnaround in this city next year for our fiscal budget. I believe that experience will help us get through it. I also have a lifelong interest in education. From kindergarten through high school, through college, to teaching. I have been in education one way or another almost all my life. And I believe that what I have learned through that process will do me and the city well in weathering some of these concerns that we're going to have over the next 4 years. I have the ability to spend as much time as necessary to work on the problems for the city and working for you, as I've been retired for 11 years. So I hope that when it comes down to finding the team, as one of my peers has said, that I will be a member of that team to work for you and helping the city of Frederick weather this next 4 years. Thank you.
Ms. A.